Final session of today. We have a lot of great guests today joining us in the various sessions, but let's get starting here right now by connecting to our studio in Stockholm. Hello David and hello Christina.
Hi Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Ooh.
And Ingmar.
Good to see you. Thank you for a fantastic show.
David,
so far.
we can't hear David.
No, you can't.
I think we
Can
can
you
hear
hear me?
David now. Yes, you're quite loud, Christina, which is lovely, and David's quite soft.
Well, I'll try to speak louder.
Ah, yeah. Okay, let's keep going on
Maybe we
that.
can
Anyway,
share
we've got
mic.
David. David Olsson is the COO of We Don't Have Time, and Christina Carlmark is the partnerships manager there with We Don't Have Time. I'm sure you're both very well. You look very well. And do you have any reflections on today's broadcast? And if you do, and your microphone's not working, David, you can share Christina's.
Yeah, I'll start and then I'll share with David. I really like the morning session where we started with the super pollutants and giving us hope. The more information we share regarding those super pollutants, both that they can take away the pressure on the CO2 emissions, but also that they can actually be a source for good if you use it in the right way. So I really took away a lot from that one. And
Great.
David, we had guests here today, the End Ecocide Law Alliance, and that was also very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It was, Christina, and they referenced a big global survey that was made by the Global Commons Alliance and Earth for All on people in the G20 countries, their attitudes towards climate change and nature. And one astonishing finding in that survey is that 72% of the surveyed people that were asked the question, do you think it should be a crime to destroy nature? And 72% said yes to this question. So it's massive support from the global population on this issue, which I think bodes very well for future legislation on the topic. And to be honest, if I was asked that question, I would say, well, isn't it already?
Yes, exactly, David. No, that's a good point you brought up Future Earth, because that was a very interesting report, wasn't it, that was just out just recently. Let's just mention the people now that we have in our studio as well, of course, so we can join in. Ingmar Rentzhog, the CEO and co-founder of We Don't Have Time. That's great to see you again here, Ingmar. And also, we're very pleased to join with a good old friend of ours. Well, good, not old, but old just means we've known her for a while. Young and fantastic. Anita Soina, who's the environmental warrior and founder of the SpiceWarriors, and also stood in Kenya just not so long ago as the first Green Member of Parliament, which was, anyway, a candidate, which was really good. So your reflections on the day. Maybe I'll first start with you, Ingmar, and then I'll come to you on what you've seen around this day that captured your attention. So Ingmar?
So, I mean, my reflection today were very much the panel, the session we did with the US government, where they were so in line with the Buy More Time message and campaign. And it's so sad that there are now another president soon in US. We will see what he will do about super pollutants. Maybe that's not on his radar, and the collaboration with China and other big powers can continue on this. One of the scientists from US we had on the panel, he said, when I showed him the Buy More Time, there's a letter where you can sign letters that we are sending to UN ambassadors for different countries. He had already read it, and he said that it was as I had written it myself, and that was one of the scientists that were actually behind the Montreal Protocol when that came into place. So what Buy More Time is all about, you need to rewatch this to see the background, but we want to create a Montreal Protocol for short-lived climate gases to buy us more time to do everything else we need for the climate and avoid the tipping points.
Yeah. Anita, it's lovely to see you. And Anita, as some people may know and some people will know now, is from Kenya, which is a fantastic country off the east coast of Africa. What did you see here today that you felt was important?
Okay, so I was at the Children and Youth Pavilion, where an international coalition is calling for a youth clause in the NDCs, asking countries to allow young people to also have their inputs and their perspectives to the NDCs, and talking about why the young people are important in such conversations, and looking at them as not just people who want to sit at the table, but actually people who are meaningful and they form the table. And another interesting thing is actually the Buy More Time campaign, because as a climate advocate who's not gone to school to study all that, I did not have a clear picture to understand that apart from that CO2 actually is not just
It's not the
it's
only.
not the main.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not the only gas.
Yeah.
And of course, we hear about methane and other gases, but then the film gets to explain really, and you get to understand about solid waste, agriculture. You know how it also contributes. To global warming.
Absolutely.
So that has been the best thing to learn.
No, that's
Yes.
amazing, and that's helpful because this is partly awareness building and partly action building, and partly looking at the areas where people need to step up, right? So, I mean, I think there still is a lot of awareness building to do on this topic as well. What are you doing tomorrow, Anita? You got any plans for tomorrow? Any places you want to be in this amazingly large COP?
Yeah, tomorrow I will be at the pavilions and to collect stories and to listen to people so that we can be able to platform them and showcase what people are doing, because COP is a convening where meaningful conversations happen, but then it's also good to understand what other people are doing, not just the young people, indigenous groups, what is the private sector doing, and all, all kind of stuff, so that we can have more climate love to give in the platform.
Yes, lovely. Okay, good. Thank you both, and let's move on. So I now have some amazing guests joining us from on the magic of Zoom. First from Utrecht in the Netherlands, I've got Deniz Ozkil, bank and climate campaigner with BankTrack. Deniz, tell us what you do.
Hello, Nick. Well, as you said, I'm a climate campaigner at BankTrack. And at BankTrack, we're trying to move banks on different subjects such as climate, nature, and human rights to have better policies. And we also campaign on specific projects and companies and ask banks to drop them. Okay.
So I know you collaborate with global bank campaigners movements, grassroots organizations, partners representing communities in the global south affected by bank finance projects and companies. So do you think the global south is kind of going under the radar, how much they're being affected by bank funded projects which might not necessarily be 100% in their interests, and so on and so forth? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, unfortunately, we often see global south paying the price for the climate crisis. They're most affected and least responsible, and also it's harder for them to adapt very often. And as you said, these projects often do not benefit them at all. It benefits European companies, and it's often financed by European banks, or at least big banks of the world. So I think it's the same neocolonial scheme that we always see. Global North is reaping off the benefits of Global South, and we're not even talking about debt cancellation yet. So I see the injustice and the colonialism very much continuing. Yes.
And what about, I mean, when you with BankTrack? I mean, BankTrack, does it actually track every project or try to track all the bank projects in the global south and what they're doing? What is its kind of reach, or is it simply a network of reporting between groups?
No, we are a small NGO
Yeah.
based in the Netherlands, but we work internationally and we collaborate with a lot of partners to do different things.
Right.
I would say, like, the main goal is, as I said, to stop harmful projects, which we call dodgy deals. And
Yeah.
we're in conversation with banks to change their policies for better. We use a broad range of tactics. So we use direct engagement with banks. So we have meetings with banks, but we also do campaigning, just as any climate campaigning. It can be online campaigns, it can be open letters, demonstrations, etc. We also do research, and yearly we publish a report called Banking on Climate Chaos, together with 7 or 8 excellent partners. And we support the movement in different ways, such as, let's say, during the AGM annual general meeting season of banks, we support frontline communities to be able to enter the meeting and to confront the board of bank, for example. But this is just an example to a broad range of tactics we use.
Well, we know very well Banking on Climate Chaos. We had somebody on from that on one of our shows in June from the UN climate meetings in Bonn. And that also, of course, led to the fact that there are some banks out there that aren't funding fossil fuels. Of course, the Global Alliance for Banking on Values, with 20-odd banks that aren't investing in fossil fuels, like Triodos. I think they're in the Netherlands as well. Also the UK and Germany. So, in fact, I know that it seems like all the big banks, you know, are expanding the fossil fuels, or many of them. But there are antidotes, but many people don't know there are some positive banks that are doing good things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. There are some good banks, unfortunately, not as much as we need, not close to how it needs to be.
Yeah.
But in the Netherlands, Triodos and Volksbank is quite green. And in almost all countries, at least in Europe, it's possible to find an ethical bank, and it's possible to move your money out of the fossil fuel companies.
Yeah. The problem is that many people in Europe, with their money, which they could spend in a bank doing sort of good things with the money, often don't know about them. So it's always kind of fun to wake people up to that. So what are you? Is there any particular project right now that you feel the public should know about? That's you know, a bank that's funding something in the global south that we should be a little bit irritated about, to put it mildly?
Yeah, maybe I can talk a little bit about the ECOP, Stop ECOP project.
Yeah, please.
Stop ECOP campaign against ECOP project. So we, again, in a collaboration involving also local campaigners, we managed to kind of scare off all the European banks away. So they all pledged to not to finance this project. And to be honest, this is the time when you can stop this kind of projects from getting financing before they got financed.
Yeah.
So we managed to get commitments from European banks to get out of the project and to commit to not financing it. Then Chinese banks got involved. So now, so we had some actions in Chinese embassies around the world a couple months ago.
Right.
Now we've heard some European banks can still be interested. This is quite recent. There is a possibility that things are still moving for ECOP. It's a project of Total Energies.
Ah, okay. It's a project. It's a project of Total. In which country?
Very good. Uganda.
Uganda.
But it's going through a couple of regions, I think. It's not my campaign personally.
Okay.
It's a joint campaign of our human rights team and the climate team.
Right. So that's how it works, Deniz. You spot a project that you think might be bad for human rights or the climate or something like that, and then you see what European banks might be thinking about funding it, and try and, in a sense, campaign to persuade them not to do it.
Yes, ideally, or to not do it again, because these kind of loans have a maturity date, and after that, banks will renew the loans. So if we can find one that's going to be renewed soon, we can get involved and communicate with the bank,
right,
and hopefully convince them not to do it again.
Right. Okay, that's a very interesting kind of business model. But then, as you say, the world is complex, right? So then some banks from another country maybe comes in and funds it. So you have to keep your awareness levels up about how the funding keeps shifting in terms of who might do it and who might not, right?
Yes, and indeed, I think that's partially why we also have to keep an eye on the industry. Lately,
Yeah.
we have realized LNG expansion has been getting bigger. Actually, half of the money that was spent by banks last year, which was 700,000 US dollars,
Yeah.
that we could figure out, half of that was going to expansion.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, so we need to do something about that. Look, we're fantastic work you're doing, very important, and also the Banking on Climate Chaos, very important report and very meaningful. Thanks very much indeed for what you're doing, Deniz, and your team and your colleagues. And thanks for being on We Don't Have Time. Now we have to move on. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great. We've got in this wrap up at the end of today two more really lovely guests, and we're going to talk about something called the Pavilion for People. Yeah, Pavilion for People, which I've had a little glimpse into, so I'm a bit lucky on that side. But we've got two lovely guests here. We've got Ayoo, Irene. Ayoo, Irene.
Yes.
Okay. Partnership Officer, Last Mile Climate, also representing Solco, which is a platform for public-private partnerships to enable solar electric cooking at scale.
Perfect.
Thank you very much indeed. And then we've got Seyran, Khalilli, okay, who's program manager for New Women Connectors.
That's correct.
Okay, good. I've got that right anyway.
Yes.
It's always an exciting moment when you get it all right. So tell us briefly about what is the Pavilion for People and how are Solco and the NGOs you represent involved in this project?
Thank you for the question. First, maybe seconds about me. As you mentioned, my name is Ayoo Irene Helen. I'm a South Sudanese refugee born and raised in Uganda.
Okay.
I love starting my conversation like this so that people know where I'm coming from,
Yeah.
and why I'm very passionate about renewable energy in displacement setting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you're from South Sudan originally.
Yes.
Are you a refugee? And you're now in Uganda.
Yes.
And there is are you in a camp in Uganda, a refugee camp?
Yes, I come from Kiriandongo refugee settlement that hosts about 100,000 refugees from South Sudan and Congo.
Right. Okay. So I used to live in Kenya, and I know the one that's in Kenya that's much more, I think, north on the border with Somalia.
That is Kakuma in Dadaab.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes, but
So-
Uganda hosts about 1.7 million refugees.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
So, tell us about, from your perspective and your experience, what is this Pavilion for People? What is it trying to achieve, and how did you get involved, maybe?
Okay, thank you. For all these years, it has been quite hard to get refugees to come to COP.
Mm-hmm.
And as humanitarian organization who are very passionate about refugee representation,
Mm-hmm.
it is the reason why we decided to do an online pavilion for the people that can accommodate refugees who are unable to travel to get expenses to come to COP.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Pavilion for the People for this year is focusing on Solco. Solco is Solar Electric Cooking Partnership for NGO. It's a platform that brings together refugee-led organization, NGO, government, and private sector.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because refugee stories are kept in the settlement. So we said, how can they be heard? And we said, okay, let's have an online pavilion for the people where refugee women and young girls that suffers a lot in collecting firewood, getting charcoal to ensure that they cook for the family, they get to share their stories with people in different parts of the world,
in different parts of the world,
through Pavilion for the People. That is the reason why we have Pavilion for the People as side event for COP29 this year.
Yeah. So I'm just going to say before I come to our next wonderful guest, so Fiona Pelham, who is the sort of UK side of this, yeah, who's been working, I understand that, so she invited me into the Pavilion for People. I met a young man in the Pavilion who told me a bit about, you know, what's happening and how it works. It's quite engaging. I realize it's the beginning of something. It could be very, very big, right? Because it could actually be in many places around the world as well. And you could have many experiences. But it was nice to be greeted by a real person. It wasn't an avatar or a fake person. It was a real refugee, a young man. And he chatted to me for a little bit, asked a few questions. And then I showed him around a bit and we had a chat. And also, it's a way of, it's hearing the refugee stories, right? And many people... Ordinary people in Europe, for example, don't get a chance to do that. And I think by humanizing people rather than just making them a letter in an envelope or something, you know, and chatting to somebody, you form relationships. And maybe some people could also suddenly realize they could also even help as well, right? Which is a part of the story.
So yesterday, because we do have this meeting every week with refugee community within East Africa. So there's someone who attended yesterday from the UK, and she said, you know, I'm also into renewable energy, but I didn't get a chance to meet with refugees. Now I'm so interested in attending Pavilion for the People so that I can interact and hear more of refugee stories.
Yep, absolutely.
So it's really a very good
It's
platform.
very good, yeah. Okay, we still got some more time, but let's, so Seyran, just briefly, what is your role in all this, okay, and how could the use of tech help more women's voices to be heard?
Thank you so much. So I can tell you a little bit about our partnership. So I'm a program manager at New Connectors. We're a social movement for feminist lead for feminist movements. We do a lot of work with communities around Europe, but also globally. Our focus is always that we put a gender focus and a gender lens. We say feminist lens to the way we lead. And this is one of the things that we see in this tool as well, is that so many women around the world who are first effectives of climate change don't necessarily get to access the COPs. So that's where our conversation started, together with New Connectors and Pavilion of the People, is that we saw a need for bringing more women voices into the discussions. So we have been joining together with Solco as well in one of the activities at the Pavilion of the People. We joined to test the platform. We brought our communities. Most of them also migrant refugees are based in Europe. So they were joining in the joint session with Solco, where we tested the tool together. And what we immediately saw is, again, how spaces for women, although it's virtual, is still quite challenging. So we wanted to create a own space for women in the tool as well, where we devoted some areas of the Pavilion for the People for a women area where we discuss more gender focus and gender climate focus within the Pavilion of People as well.
Right. So basically, if I logged on to the People for Pavilion as a man, I would be greeted, and there are various places I can go to and share with other men and women on topics of renewable energy, electric cooking, all kinds of things. But there are some areas which are, you know, clearly they are for women, and they are safe spaces for women to discuss their topics and what they think is important.
I would also say that not only safe space, I would also say that is a focus on women. So because that is what we're sort of advocating for, is advocating for gender focus within the COP as well. Because we know that there are spaces, however, the focus most often goes into other areas. And we know that first responders, even within the migrant refugee communities, very much often is women who are affected by climate change, who also we're raising more awareness that women participate much more in these spaces. So that is sort of our main advocacy line. So together with Pavilion of the People, we're creating these communities where a lot of people within our communities are joining in and opting into the tech. And your question about how tech can sort of solve this is that many people couldn't access the COP because of funding. So this provides an interactive online space where we create more meaningful participation. So that is what we're advocating for at NUM Connectors. We provide spaces for meaningfully participating in the areas where we share knowledges and we discuss these different types of knowledges together.
Irene, Helen, just coming back to you then. So is there a kind of ultimate dream you have within this project, a big dream about where it could go? I mean, I remember talking to Fiona and saying, well, solar electric cookers, but why can't we actually have businesses for people in your community actually building the solar electric cookers? You know, could it lead to that one day where you become the tech capital of solar electric cookers in East Africa or something like that? I mean, yeah.
Yes. Just to let you know that Solco aim at transitioning 250,000 households to clean cooking by 2027.
Very good.
That's a very big ambition, right? And we can't do it alone. We are focusing on localization with refugee-led organization because these are people on front line. So for last mile climate right now, we are mobilizing for resource and re-granting refugee-led organization building their capacity because we don't want to be doing this work for years. We want to push open the platform, build the capacity of the refugee themselves so that they can take lead. So that is our focus.
Yeah. You know,
and
okay, sorry. Carry on. Just a few seconds left.
There are few refugee businesses, and there are few refugees who are already into renewable energy that we are also focusing on how we can actually build their capacity so that they are able to build their product to meet the quality
exactly
of the products
exactly
in the market.
That's exactly what it's got to be. It's got to be bringing that manufacturing to that part. That's such a good dream and such a good plan, and I'm sure it's going to happen because I'm looking at the energy in your eyes.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you too, and this is such a big topic, right? I mean, we could cover the moon and the stars and come back and go round again, right? Because there's so many things. But Fiona, contacted us and she talked about the pavilion, and we thought, we want to hear about it. And there is a website, is there not? What is the website?
So it's Pavilion of the People. It's a website, and there you can also opt in and access the pavilion as well.
Right. Okay. So Pavilion, both say together or something. Let's make it loud. What's the website?
Pavilion of the People.
Pavilion.
Pavilion for the people.
Right. Dot. It's com or org. It's got to be, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Yes, we're all agreed on that. It's one of those. Okay, just Google it. Google it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, thank you so much for being here. Thank you very much for being on the We Don't Have Time show. You are the last guest, I think, on the stage. No, that's not true. There is more to come. Okay. I have to let you. So, We Don't Have Time has a fine tradition of having live music performances and music videos on our shows, often with a climate theme. That's always a bit risky because some people hear the word climate and go, it can't possibly be pop music. But you have to be very careful with the way you write it. These COP29 broadcasts are no exception. We're going to have some music. And the Be Cool campaign uses music to inspire youth climate action. In just a few minutes, we will end today's broadcast with the campaign's music video. But first, it's my great pleasure to welcome on Zoom Peter Kronowitt, songwriter, activist, founder of Face the Music Collective, and board member of Music Declares Emergency US. That's a very good campaign. Well done. And that's the organization behind this campaign as well. So tell us, Pete, about the campaign and what you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely. So, as you said, I'm a member of Music Declares Emergency, the US chapter. There's 18 chapters internationally. We started with a clever slogan, the No Music on a Dead Planet. And that slogan caught the attention of music artists and music industry people around the world. And now we have more than 8,000 people around the world who have signed our declaration. We also worked very closely with the Climate Music Project and partnered on a climate songwriting workshop. What we did back in June of 2022 is we put together distinguished climate scientists with a few amazing songwriters. Just the idea was to write upbeat songs with the, facing the reality, but make them upbeat, and then, use those songs as a way to activate the public. So one of the songs that was written during that workshop was the song you're going to hear, I Want to Be Cool. It was written by some award-winning songwriters and friends of mine, Will Kimbrough and Brant Miller. And then Kimbrough recorded the song, and we knew immediately that we needed to do something about it. So before, when you hear the song, you're going to hear a line before the last chorus. The line is, can't you hear your kids starting to shout? So we came up with this idea to recruit thousands of young people all around the world to sing the chorus and bring more people to the climate fight.
Right. That's really interesting. So I used to be the Director of Communications for the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. So that's the body that, organizes these conferences where we are right now in Baku and other things too. And we did a song competition for a song for Paris in 2015, when the whole world was coming together finally for a truly global treaty. And we listened in my offices in Bonn in Germany to many submissions, and it was quite hard because I'd say 90% of the songs about climate change were a bit on the I love my solar panel, I love my, wind turbine sort of lyric, or it's very super happy clappy, and a bit like those Bob Geldof songs from the past, for Save the World. So it's difficult, right? And also we found when we were talking to friends that if you use the word climate change too often, some people didn't want to listen, right? Some people wanted to switch off. It's a curious thing, is the songwriting area of climate music. And maybe I can just mention, we have an ambassador for music for We Don't Have Time called Seyran. She's based in New York. She brought out an album just recently called Carbon. And every track is inspired by climate change. She's worth listening to. There are some people moving in this area, right? But it's not many swimming in this area.
Well, there's lots of artists who have been inspired by this challenge that we're facing, and they're approaching it from many different perspectives and writing about it from the personal experiences, from the environment, and it's, as you said, it's very difficult to write a song that kind of addresses the reality. It doesn't scare people, but also to give hope. And that's what I think both Will Kimbrough and Brant Miller did exceptionally well, is they weave this narrative together about, hey, there's real things that we're facing. Yeah. This is something we need to do something about. But if we work together, I mean, literally the lyrics in the chorus they're just beautifully phrased, and the pacing and the melody, and it ends up being one of those infectious things that you just kind of want to be a part of. And that was the idea, to having people sing. There's something happens when people when you get to the point, music is a wide berth of kinds of experience, right? You could dance, you could but what you're
saying is, if you work together on singing, if you sing together, you can actually transform your thinking and even join hands with people that don't necessarily agree with you.
Absolutely. It builds community, it builds bridges. And but I also would say that art, music, any kind of art is it's an entry point. It's an opening, maybe even a potential awakening. And we thought of it as a starting point to guide people toward getting people engaged. And really think about that, because the people who are watching this broadcast are likely people who are already active, engaged in what's happening around the climate. It's the people that we really need to reach. A pop song can possibly reach all kinds of other people, but you have to give them an on-ramp. You have to give them very explicit ways where they can make a difference. And it's got to be a simple step. And so we built this campaign, the Be Cool campaign, around that idea of 3 areas. And if I can, I just want to...
Yes, very
just
briefly
highlight.
now, because we're just running out of time, Pete.
Absolutely. So we came up with a guide. The first one is to focus on civic engagement. The second is guiding communities to reduce emissions. The third is to provide effective climate education. What we know in the climate movement is it's policies and legislation that really move the needle. But policies don't happen without public support.
Good
so
point.
making sure that people understand what's happening, it's awareness, but it's that next step. So we now have a guide, and we're going to offer this song for anybody who wants it. That's the campaign. You can kick off events with it. You can use the song. You can use the videos. Kids can play the song. They could do it in their own genre, and then record them. We'll highlight it on our YouTube channel, and then we'll provide a guide with partners that they can be effective in addressing the climate
Brilliant,
issue.
Pete. And of course, new and old leaders of governments around the world can sing the song as well and make the right choices in terms of government policy, from North America to, say, Latin America. Okay, good.
Everywhere. And we
everywhere.
have a website. Don't forget our website.
Okay, go on then.
It's Climate Music, which is our partner in this. climatemusic.org/be cool. You can, we'll send you
climatemusic.org/be cool.
That's it.
We've got it. I'm sure it's going to be on our website anyway. So go to that, ladies and gentlemen. You can download it, use it for free, and you must report back to Pete what you did with it. Okay.
Exactly. That's the whole idea.
Thanks, Pete. This is great. We're now going to hear, ladies and gentlemen, certainly our premiere on We Don't Have Time of I Wanna Be Cool.
I wanna be cool, it isn't a joke. To walk in the woods, without all the smoke. I love to swim, but not in a flood. We can't grow a crop, down in the mud. I want to be cool and get the job done, so we don't get left out to bake in the sun. Let's plant some trees and make some shade. From the ground up, that's how change is made. I wanna be cool, how about you? Together there's not one single thing that we couldn't do. Take care of the earth and each other too. Working together, we all can be cool. I wanna be cool, it's gotten too hot. I'm joining the movement to save what we've got. So every girl and every boy can live a good, long, healthy life and find some joy. I wanna be cool, how about you? Together there's not one single thing that we couldn't do. Take care of the earth too. Working together, we all can be cool. Leaders, it's time to lead. Listen to your people in need. The whole world is sweating this out. Can't you hear your kids starting to shout? I wanna be cool, how about you? Together there's not one single thing that we couldn't do. Take care of the earth and each other too. Working together, we all can be cool. I wanna be cool, how about you? Together there's not one single thing that we couldn't do. Take care of the earth and each other too. Working together, working together, working together, we all can be cool. I wanna be cool. I wanna be cool.
So that was a great new song to preview here on We Don't Have Time, and hope you enjoyed and hope you sign up and use it around the world. And then we've got a final video here, which is the Weather Kids video, and done in partnership, of course, with the UN Development Programme, a great partner of ours. Let's see it.
नमस्ते, मेरो नाम आरुषि सुवेदी हो। म आज मौसमसँग विशेष रिपोर्ट लिएर आएकी छु। यहाँ माथिदेखि तलसम्म सबै अस्तव्यस्त छ। यदि हामीले वैज्ञानिकहरूको कुरा नसुन्ने हो भने म हुर्केर ठुलो हुँदासम्म स्थिति झन अस्तव्यस्त हुनेछ। अब सन् 2050 को लागि भएको पूर्वानुमान हेरौँ। तातो हावाले 94% बालबालिकालाई असर गर्नेछ, जसले घर बाहिर खेल्ने कुरा इतिहासको विषय बन्नेछ। चरम खडेरीले अन्नबालीलाई नष्ट गर्नेछ। मेरो भाइ बहिनीहरूलाई एकसाथ खाना खान पनि मुस्किल हुनेछ र विपदहरूले हामी कर तिर्ने जनतालाई लगभग 600 अर्ब डलरको खर्चभार थप्नेछ। पक्कै पनि यो सबै अस्तव्यस्त वायुमण्डलमा ताप सञ्चित गर्ने प्रदूषणयुक्त ग्यासको कारणले भएको हो, जसले हामीले वायुमण्डलमा जानबाट रोक्न सक्थ्यौं। तर चिन्ता नगर्नुहोस्, आकाश सफा हुने सम्भावना अझै छ। अहिले स्वच्छ ऊर्जा प्रणालीहरू पूर्वबाट पश्चिमतिर सर्दैछन्, जसबाट धेरै रोजगारहरू सृजना हुन जान्छ र सौर ऊर्जाको मूल्य तेल र ग्यास भन्दा तल झरेको छ। समझदार व्यक्तिहरूको उच्च दबावका कारणले बालबालिकाहरूलाई नराम्रो कुराको प्रभावबाट बचाउन सक्छ। समयमै हाम्रा अग्रजहरूले यो समस्या ठीक गरेमा हामी तपाईलाई जानकारी गराउँछौँ, किनभने यो हाम्रो लागि मौसम समाचार मात्र होइन, यो हाम्रो भविष्य हो।